You say the Constitution gives them room to do that?
Yeah. Nobody has challenged me. I mean, you guys are here. Nobody has come to challenge me. I've said this several times. The Constitution says you can do this, and you are not doing it. And you expect power to be generated at the federal level and transmitted to Mowe Bafo, to my father's village in Alabata.
If the state do that, that could be another form of another avenue to generate internal revenue.
Seriously, let me tell you the way it works. I sent it online, not really for business purposes. I said, well, I'm looking for when I will have for my state, Ogun State Electricity Regulatory Commission. I call it OGSEC. I said I'm looking for when I'm going to have Lagos State Electricity Regulatory Commission, LAGSEC. When I'm going to have Kano State Electricity Regulatory Commission, CANSEC. What they do, they are not bothered about the dilapidated national grid, which is greedy, really. They're bothered about the fact that, okay, this investor, I need 100 megawatts from solar. Are you do it? You can do it. Come, I give you a license, off grid. Hey, I need you to do for me this industry in Agbara. Let's have captive of 600 megawatts. Captive is also off grid. Come, I give you a license to do captive, off grid. If it's off grid, if it's not connected to the national grid, it falls within the ambit of the state regulatory purview. And the starting point is for them to set up appropriate regulatory institution, which the law also asks them to do. Once they set that up, they start to license small scale, because power, electricity is not an item on the exclusive legislative list. It is concurrent. So that's why I say, even if you have a case, you go to federal court will have no jurisdiction, because power is not one of the issues, the rest of which federal court is compared with exclusive jurisdiction. It is concurrent. You go to state high court. But the operationalization of the sector is somehow needlessly centralized.
If the states go ahead and have those regulatory commissions, what role will be there then for the discos?
Thank you. The discos are players. It's like you are a disco licensed to do global, that is the whole federal government, and you are also cross-licensed. Nothing stops a disco. The disco will end up being like holding companies. We have Eco Disco, which is anchoring the entire Lagos disco. You're going to have Eco Disco Ibafo, or you can have Eco Abeokuta Disco. That means with the Eco Disco, they're going to have subsidiaries that are interfacing with state government under the holding company. So the disco themselves will branch off to start to engage in respective states and other areas. The money they're going to make, the mega they're going to make, is still within their group. It's still theirs. So if you wait for federal government to bring about the heaven, the Eldorado we are waiting for, the discos are going to run out of business. The only way they can stay alive is to start to engage promising lower grade, off-grid power generation through renewables, essentially, and captive too.
Can we just look at the part of the consumers here? One of the from that report we looked at, a chairman of one of the distribution companies talked about the fact that power supplied is not paid for. They're not willing to pay for it. How can the consumer be made to be more responsible in this aspect? If the discos, for instance, buy into this idea and the state governors buy into this, the consumers, would they play their own part?
Naturally, consumers will play their own part.
Seriously?
If you need to communicate, you buy the SIM card, you load your credit. Once you burn off your credit, you don't communicate, or you buy more, you top up.
So we're back to metering.
So, naturally, it is skilled for service reasons in favor of the discos.
Yeah.
And I said the reason was because the system allows them a kind of windows, which nobody is talking about, which I disagree with, which they know I disagree with. The reason why they're having these problems is because they signed a kind of investment protection agreement there's a clause in the agreement which you will not see, which Sulaiman will not see, which you also will not see, which I may not see, but I can assess some one way or the other. There's a clause that says, okay, I'm buying these entities. Please don't throw open the market until the next 5 years for me to recoup my investment with yield. So the federal government is under a kind of pressure not to look for alternatives. If they do that, they're going to be held responsible. They're going to sue them that you are breaching this clause. So they know what to do.
What about those who got, for instance, at Damawa Disco, who felt that the insurgency in part of Nigeria's northeast couldn't make them...
no, that's not understand. There is always the force majeure provision in every contract.
Good.
Force majeure is always there. You call force majeure, you declare force majeure that, oh, due to circumstances beyond my control, I can't generate, I can't distribute, I can't even perform, I can't even carry out my functions under this contract. Those are legal, those are tenable arguments.
I wanted us to look at the two issues raised in that report. And for you say it's a two-way street. If you do that to the consumer, it is very bad, meaning you bill the consumer for power not consumed. And the same way, you consume power and you don't pay. Yeah. Because these are things that really can't make business flourish in a nation that is trying to work so hard to see that the power situation improves. First and first, perhaps let's assume for the purpose of this that we have an overwhelming willing consumer who is ready to pay. We keep talking about the metering. Once we saw a huge rollout of metering for like almost a few days in Lagos. Yeah. And as it is now, there's a stop in that to the extent that so many people are still talking about estimated billing. Shouldn't this be the point of discussion before we go further and say those are the people, because we need to attack these two simultaneously, those who are not paying and those who are being shortchanged by being billed for power not consumed.
Thank you very much. That's a very important point. But let me engage it this way. Well, you said you noticed a kind of upsurge in the distribution of meters, prepaid meters, to consumers. That was because Labour was saying no way, and they had to undertake to improve metering. At least as we speak, the new tariff is being collected. They've not backed off of that. They've not backed down. So that, to me, is problematic on the one side. So the issue is, if you meter consumers appropriately, they will pay. At least they can see what they are consuming. For as long as you bring estimated billing, it creates a kind of distortion. That's one. Two, you talk of those who really are willing to pay. A typical example. It's unfortunate that Governor Fashola is now on the other side.
Unfortunate?
Unfortunate, because he had a very rough battle with the discourse in Lagos. Governor Fashola, through his ingenious effort, generated about, let me say, is it 38 megawatts for the secretariat, and the consumption capability is just about 16 megawatts, even when they are there working fully. So Alausa will take what they can run with for the operation. Then what happens to the excess of about, let's say, 10 to 15 megawatts during the day? In the night, Alausa shuts down, and you have the entire 38 megawatts wasting away.
They can't give it off or
and
sell it off.
And say, okay, you know what? There are industries here, of potential off-takers. Let's give this thing to them. During the day, the excess we can give to them. In the night, we can give them the entire thing. They can distribute to homes or industry. They will function. Lagos State, they will make money. They will pay more taxes to Lagos State. Guess what? This court said, no. Those are our customers. Governor Fashola, you can't do it. And they frustrated his effort. They went to court. Maybe they are still in court. Maybe they settled out of court. Even when you generate power, this course will make it impossible for you to give to off-takers. You generate, spend money to invest and generate, then the power will be there. But somebody says, that's my market, you can't sell them power. Okay, you sell them the power you are generating, you have generated no power to distribute to them. Yes, somebody have power to distribute to them, you say he cannot do so.
Just hold your thought for a second. We'll continue from there in the morning.